Mm, I love that last jam.
Hey friends, I believe we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So welcome to another live video with me, Alan Lee, and my good buddy Jason Call. We are here to hang out with you guys. We're trying to stream this live on Facebook, but we're having some issues. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Jason, while I try and figure that stuff out.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. So we're doing these live videos every other week, and appreciate your patience too. We are kind of working through technology and trying to find the best platform. We think we got one because we'd love to be able to have this be as engaging as possible and actually have like live call-ins and have some fun stuff there. So people could call in live with questions. And we could just have an amazing conversation and just hang out every couple weeks. And of course, our goal, me and Alan, is to give value and answer all your questions from business, pricing, marketing, startup stuff, hiring, like whatever it is that you might be struggling with, you might have questions about. That's the whole point of this. Just like our podcast, the Handyman Success Podcast. If you haven't listened to that, we interview handyman businesses from owner-operators to multi-million-dollar operations. We talk about certain topics for the purpose of education and inspiration. And this is kind of like a more casual spin-off of that, if you will. So we're super excited that in October, I think we'll have our first one, get that live call-ins figured out. So thank you all for tuning in while we kind of get our technology stuff figured out. Alan, we got comments. David Steckler, good morning, man. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing awesome. Hope that I know we were kind of working on getting your CRM thing integrated the other day, so I assume Taylor has been taking good care of you. But welcome. Good morning. Yeah, feel free to drop a comment, say hello, where you're located. Any questions? I've certainly got questions for Alan whenever he's out of his zone. I think of that, my favorite GIF of Zach Galifianakis, the guy with the numbers are across the screen. That's how I view Alan right now.
Trying to figure out what's going on here.
Didn't you get it live in the Facebook group earlier this morning on that test?
I did, but the test, the test worked. The test is still up, but for some reason this is not working.
Okay. Well, it's all good. We need a third co-host, so I'm not just talking to myself. But that said, right. I'll just ramp into kind of a couple things that I had kind of queued up to ask Alan and chat about. I'll just kind of dialogue there. And so a couple important things that come up with me on a regular basis when we're talking about people's marketing is I ask them, do you have any like flyers in play, like postcards, door hangers? And the answer a lot of times is no. That you just have your business card that you hand out to people. So I kind of just wanted to ask Alan about that. So we'll get his take on that whenever he's freed up. But overall, I'm a huge advocate of really good print marketing. The best marketing is comprehensive. It's online, it's offline, and the offline piece, when you look at these flyers, postcards, things that really showcase your service, it's kind of a one-time, relatively inexpensive investment that you're making for your business. Alan teaches, and I've always loved this, is whenever you walk into someone's house, always have someone physical to hand them. It's not only good because you can educate them on your business, but there's also some kind of social lubricant there where, you got the handshake, you got the welcome, you got the handing them something. So there's something magical about having your hands busy, right? Something to hold. So it's almost this kind of like really subtle comfort social thing. I know that seems kind of weird to some, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So the bigger picture of what I would love to inspire people to work towards is ultimately, this was inspired from an experience I had with a home service contractor who kind of won our business when we were getting multiple bids on a roof actually years ago. And this sales guy, he came in, of course he was super friendly, just like anybody else that came to bid the project. And he had this this little packet. It was just a little folder that had their logo on the front. It had a flyer, a business card that was kind of tucked into this little sleeve. It had their proof of insurance, their licensing from general contractor's license. I don't think that you needed any kind of specific roofing license where we were in California then. And like they also just had a little like paper of like FAQs, and like it was just really informative. And instantly it was just like, wow, what a great presentation. And of course, the actual roofing sales representative was really friendly. He's really helpful. I didn't find him to be like overly pushy or anything like that. And then we had this packet that, when he left, we kind of looked through it and it was like, oh, the proof of insurance, licensing, this little flyer that had all these examples for like colors, like the different kinds of, options that you could look at for your roof. They called out their siding and gutter services. Because when you replace a roof, it's a good time to also replace your gutters if you need some gutter work done or any kind of major repairs. And at the end of the day, we just went with their company, even though they certainly weren't the cheapest. They weren't egregiously expensive either, but it was just a great overall experience that I felt that little packet really kind of set them apart, where other companies at best they had a business card and those things kind of just fly off the counter. So this packet kind of sticks there. So my encouragement for the handyman industry is, to work towards some kind of like more developed print marketing packet that has that brochure, that's got your personal family photo, that's got your highlight focus services. If you have a niche service that you really want to push, shout out to Rob Berry with Northgate Handyman. He's just getting started. And he had this great question for us the other day that was like, hey, I've specialized in carpet repair and carpet cleaning. He's got this really like high-end carpet cleaning rig that's quite expensive. And so it does a really amazing job. And so he asked, like, should I set up a separate Google profile, business website, all this stuff for it? Like, how should I go about promoting this? And the best way to start in that is just having it listed as a priority on your website, as a priority in your marketing, and like cross-selling that service to everybody that you're engaging with. And so the best way to do that is having it on your website, having it in a flyer, but to really push it, having like imagine like a little postcard that just calls out this kind of carpet cleaning repair special. Maybe you can like flat rate pricing based on square footage or whatever, that there can be some ballpark kind of pricing on there. But what a beautiful way to promote a focused service, especially when you look at, you've got a bigger kind of packet that you can just start inserting your kind of priority services into to start pushing them. And then if it builds up in a way where it warrants a whole separate division, business, Google profile, you can address that then. But in my opinion, one of the lowest hanging fruits for pushing a focused service is by kind of having that wrapped into your overall print marketing, your general marketing communications, like your social media, website, like a focus page on there, maybe a little banner that promotes it if it's kind of a short-term kind of push to get that in front of people. So those are my thoughts on, hopefully anyone listening, if you don't have your print marketing dialed in, take some steps to just slowly start improving that. I personally think a really good first step, if you already have a business card, is to get some kind of like, those little like school folders, those little thin ones with your logo on it. Get 100 of them. And it kind of forces the action there. If you got your business card, you got the folder, now get a flyer, get a little postcard drummed up and start creating these little packets. I assure you that it's a good investment. It's relatively cheap. So that's my encouragement for anyone that listens to that bit on the print marketing. Alan, what's up?
Yeah,
man?
that's some good words. Yeah. So we didn't get the Facebook mastermind group figured out. So sorry, you'll have to join later. But if you guys are checking us out on YouTube, congratulations. You guys made it to the live video. We're so excited to have you here. Drop us a comment down below. We would absolutely love to talk with you a little bit, hear about, leave us a comment with, what your name is, where you're located, how long you've been in business. We would love to chat. I love the conversation, Jason, about print marketing, because I think that's a huge aspect that people just don't think about. When they think of marketing, they think about spending money on, Google or Yelp or Nextdoor or Facebook or whatever. But marketing is more than just like spending money, online. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do offline. And for us, it's really been a matter of like building a brand. And what does that look like? And how do you build a brand that people trust, people call on, people remember? That's the biggest thing. Like you could take yard signs. I love yard signs. And there's kind of an art to yard signs. Is people think like, oh, I'm going to make a yard sign. It's going to look really cool because it's going to have my business name be the biggest. Like it's going to say Bob, just like big. That's what you're going to Bob. You know what I mean? Bob's and then Handyman, right? Because I'm like really excited. I want people to know about Bob. It's like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if people know about Bob. When they're driving 60 miles an hour down the road, you want them to see Handyman in your number. Like that's the most important thing about it, So, but print marketing, we've created these folders or these little brochures, and they're pretty nice, pretty inexpensive little, I don't know what you call them, bifold or whatever.
Can you keep that open there because I love your flight.
So,
like anyone looking at this, like this is like on the front, you got clear, really simple, honestly, Handyman. Does it have your phone? Maybe a phone number might be good. Or
the phone number's on the back.
Website. Okay, you got it on the back. And then you open up, you got the personal family photo in there. Artie Jean needs to make the
I know we haven't.
You got to get that.
We haven't updated it yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things like that. That does the trick though. Like you're hitting on that personal, local, family-owned business. Got a little story in there. Got the home maintenance inspection to get people thinking about what else can this company do. And then what's the back? You got the team.
And then
photo.
The back is the team photos, which we need to update that because it's a little bit outdated. And then we got our phone and information. And then one thing, I'm going to get this remade. And one thing I'm thinking about putting is a QR code right here that says, leave us a review, so it'll be a QR code that'll take them right to the review link on Google, so that they can leave us a review easily. Because right now we're doing a challenge with our team where every 5-star review that they get with their name in it, they get $100. So I think it'd be cool while we're doing the challenge, but also after the challenge, just to have an easy QR code on the back where they can leave us a review. I think would be helpful.
Yeah, I love that, man. And one, I want to pull back to that point that you said at the very start, which was like, how much money should I spend on Yelp and Google, et cetera? And they don't have a flyer or any kind of like print marketing. Maybe they don't even have like a website, maybe not many reviews. They're not doing much of this basic business marketing. Maybe they're not networking, they're missing some fundamental pieces. But in my opinion, if someone's asking about spending money on Yelp, but they don't have like a nice flyer print packet that you are consistently hitting your leads with, that introduces your company in a professional manner. If you're doing that, it's almost like you're just skipping some steps. You're trying to jump from step 1 to step 10, but you got to climb the ladder. You're trying to paint your house, but your drywall isn't up yet. You're just painting right on the insulation. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, so I think it's a really fundamental thing that people naturally skip over because the hype in the marketplace, in the online communities, it's all about online marketing and paid ads and SEO and Google and all this stuff that is important. But the bandit signs, the brochures, really, really important to have as a fundamental marketing. Also, we just had an experience this morning with the importance of, in Alan's background, you can see his van that's lettered, really big phone number, honestly, Handyman, which again, another shout out to Rob Berry, because he sent us some mock-ups of like his truck trailer and truck wrap that he's going out of the gate. He's investing in this stuff to maximize the value of his time. He's driving around town, may as well have a billboard with you, right? And so one of the feedback items I had for him is it didn't have Handyman on there. It just had Northgate Neighbor. And I'm like, dude, you need to have Northgate Neighbor Handyman front. Like that's what you need to hit people with. So, Alan, I'd love to hear your take on Like the vehicle lettering, I know there's options. You got the lower end option, introduction, if you will, is like a magnet. Then you got some more lettering. Then you got the full wrap. And first, I want to mention our experience this morning is we're walking our dogs, and there's this guy. He's out early for our neck of the woods here in Oregon. He's already out on the job site at like it's 7:30 in the morning, very early. Guys a go getter. But we're just walking by him, and he didn't even have lettering or anything. But he just stopped and he gave us a wave and a smile. And we have some like clearing that we could that we need done, and I don't have the tools to do that. It's really thick brush, and so we just stopped and asked him, and he like basically had us text him, and it showcased that he didn't have the lettering or the professional setup. We live in a pretty rural area, but like imagine that same experience if you see that Honestly Handyman, a QR code you could just take a picture of, pull it up on your phone, pull up the website, and you would get a lead right then and there. Like we are an instant lead for that guy, and he didn't even have that. And for me, I thought of this like, look how much trust I have in this guy strictly because he had a smile and he's working in my neighborhood. There's something magical about like, this guy's working with my neighbor. I'm interested, right? So the power of this kind of billboard that you have set up outside your job site is really important. So Alan, give us an overview on like lettering, wraps, like how much what kind of cost expectations would people have? Just love to hear your take specifically on the lettering, and also would love to circle back, like how much do your brochures and print marketing cost, and bandit signs? Like what's the full comprehensive look of what you guys got going on the offline marketing?
Yeah. So I'm a very big advocate of putting decals on your vehicle. There's super simple stuff you could start out with that probably everyone should start out with at some point. And that's simple magnets. You can get those from Vistaprint. They don't look very professional. I mean, they're better than nothing, right? But they don't look super, super professional. But I'd recommend getting some magnets. You can get some magnets that are pretty good size for pretty inexpensive on Vistaprint. You can upload your logo, the info you want, and then they'll print it out and then put magnets on there. Even when you get magnets and you don't have magnets before, it's like, oh man, like it's getting real, for you. So it's a pretty exciting day when you get to put magnets on your vehicle.
There's motivation there. Inherently, that's going to get you fired up and a lot more excited. And I think you're just going to be more excited to get out there. So that's a cool little underlying benefit.
100%. It adds, fuel to your tank as an entrepreneur, because most of the time as an entrepreneur, you're by yourself. You don't have many people giving you a hoorah, keep going, right? But that's the little stuff you can do to boost your self-esteem. And then the next step is kind of what we went with. We decided to go with white vans because there's an option you can go a full wrap. That's expensive. A full wrap's expensive. So we went with a white van, and the background of our logos and everything is white. So if you were to look at our van here where it says Honestly Handyman and then our number, it looks like it's a wrap, but no, it's just a white van with some vinyl decals on it. The vinyl decals, that you see here, it says that. And then on the back of it, it had back windows in it, but we opted to put white on it. So it doesn't look like it has windows at all. So it's got a white back, and then it's got Honestly Handyman on it. And then it's got Honestly Handyman on the other side. And then when you close the doors, it says our services. So it says services like fence repair, faucet replacement, minor electrical, minor plumbing, things like that. So that's kind of the gist of our decal on our vans. And this decal system only costs about $1,500. And that includes the back window. That was probably the most expensive on all of this. So it's really not a whole lot of money to do it. And then, to do like trucks and stuff, it's even cheaper because you're only doing the back tailgate and the two doors. That costs about $700. So it's pretty inexpensive, but it really adds a whole layer of professionalism. I think another thing, that Jason said here is, back in the day, the old school idea was you put like a business card thing on the car. And you could get some decals that says take one, right? And it's like people just come by and they take a business card. Well, you could get even more advanced now. You could put a QR code on there that takes them directly to your website. So someone can scan it. That's probably easier and probably a little more cost effective because you don't have to keep buying business cards. But it all depends who your target demographic is if you live in a town that has a lot of older people, it might be a better idea to, put business cards rather than a QR code. But, if you're living in a place where you're attracting mainly younger people, I think QR code would be the way to go. So
yeah,
that's kind of how we've run our decals.
Yeah. A couple things I want to call out there is, let's call it $1,000 to get something nice on your vehicle. And by the way, like this quote that I saw just yesterday from a gentleman who's North Colorado Springs. So it's a not a cheap area necessarily. He's getting a full like truck and trailer wrap. It was around 2,000 to 2,500. That's probably a good deal. But that's what he had done. So let's call it $1,000. An amazing cost per lead, like a really good cost per lead for paid advertising is $25 a lead. That's a great lead cost. If we're getting client $25 a lead on local service ads or whatever, like that's a huge win. And so when you use that number to get to that $1,000, you need 40 leads. But how long have you had your vehicles with some kind of lettering that people could see and call?
These letterings, I mean, we've had them for 5 years.
5 years. So like we're talking here, like that's like 10 leads a year, 1 lead a month to pay for it to theoretically have been paid for itself by now. And I think that you would have shattered that right like really quickly. So I just hope that puts into perspective, like it's going to pay for itself because you will generate leads and repeat clients, referrals strictly off you parking at your Lowe's, Home Depot, parking in the neighborhood. I'd love to share my screen real quick to show Alan's progression, if you will. I've got a photo, man, of
back in the day.
Back in the day. Yep. So first off, here we go. Window. All right, this might look funky for a second. Here's the original. Can you guys see this?
Okay, there we go. Oh, look at that, man.
This
that's
old school. OG. Look at that. Look at that. That wood lettering, that wood like plank thing. Honestly,
wow.
Handyman. Alan's old personal cell phone. Got the Ranger. So that's where Alan started. And so look how simple that is, guys. Like Alan had, when you were rocking this, I remember you had at least 1 or 2 team members working for you. Like you were rocking and rolling, and that's what you had. So I commend your spirit of just getting something in play here. Now, look at this one. So this is kind of that level up that Alan took. I don't think you still have the van, do you?
No, we don't.
Hey, so
for that one,
like look, this is a great photo because look at this nice neighborhood that Alan's in. Anyone driving by here, like, wow,
that's a big billboard.
That's a huge billboard, and it's so professional. Honestly, Handyman, big phone number, your neighborhood handyman. Like imagine, the next level up, this was years ago, but like a QR code, website address, but the phone number front and center because Alan does, they answer the phone. So anyway, just wanted to call that out. Put a visual there of where Alan started on his vehicle wraps. And again, if you pay $1,000, you just need to get 40 leads over its lifetime value to get the equivalent of a really good paid ads program for investing in that. So it just underscores invest in that first, rather than like people are running paid ads for $500, $1,000 a month, but they don't have their vehicle lettered, wrapped. And for me, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a huge missed opportunity. You're trying to paint, but the drywall's not up yet.
Yep. I want to so we had a comment here from Triumph Man. What's up, man? Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate having you. He asks, what is the best way to limit what services you want to offer and still actually get calls? I'm older and I don't want to do heavy labor tasks, really just ceiling fans, hang TVs, and minor repairs. First off, thanks so much for dropping a comment. If anyone watching here has a comment that they want to drop a question, drop that in the comment section. We'd be happy to bring that up and answer that. Jason, you want to go first on this one, and then I can tackle it after you?
Sure. Yeah. So I would, I would ask a question first, which is like, what are you doing right now to like create that focus? So firstly, at the fundamental base level is honesty. Like, be honest about what you do. Be honest about what you don't do. So, and then from that honesty, making sure that any marketing that you're doing, flyer, business, everything we've been talking about, if you have a website, if you have a Google profile, just make that really clear and upfront. And also keep in mind, you will get requests regularly for things you don't do. It's part of being a handyman. It's part of being in business, really.
Yeah.
I mean, even people with us ask us to do some crazy things with marketing. It's like, oh, we don't do that. But you're always going to get requests for things you don't do. It's a nature of a handyman. It's a wide, broad range of things that someone in their head, they're like, I need a handyman for, and then it's a mystery because there's so many things. So I would encourage you to just be really truthful and upfront in your marketing about what you do, and perhaps if you get really common like requests for things you don't do, if it's enough, just clearly call out, hey, this is what we don't do. And in that vein, we encourage you to create a nice referral list, so you can still give value to a client, still help them in a way by giving them a trustworthy referral. So that'd be my kind of quick take on it. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I love it. I think that, and Triumph, man, we'd love to hear from you. If you can let us know what you're currently doing and how long you've been in business, what you're currently doing to attract the right kind of people and what kind of jobs you're currently getting asked to do. So while we're answering this, go ahead and write that in the comments. I think that as a business owner, you get pulled in so many different directions. You wear so many different hats. And I think you have to get very adamant about protecting yourself and protecting your time, because no one else is going to care about your time or yourself. So you have to do that yourself. And so I think that just comes with being honest, like telling people straight up, like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do not do. Like when people call you for a bathroom remodel, like just say, sorry, we don't do that. But I like what Jason said of have a good referral list. I think that's probably one of the most important things that you could do if you're going to be turning away work is always have an answer for people. So if someone calls you for a bathroom remodel, who are you going to refer them to? Because you want people to keep calling you. They're like, you're the guy that always gives me a good referral. Even if you can't help me out, you help me out in a way that, by giving me a referral. So that I'm going to keep calling you. You want people to keep calling you. You want to be known as the connector in your community, So I think that just getting very adamant, very dialed in on what services you offer. One thing we have, like we showed earlier, this multi-point home maintenance inspection, when we don't have business cards. This is what we give people. And when people ask us what we do and we give this to them, we say, this is kind of what we do. Like, this is pretty comprehensive of what we do. You don't see bathroom remodels on here. This is all maintenance and replacement and stuff like that. So have a list, be very dialed in on what type of work you want to do. And I think that's another important thing to ask, like, what type of work do you want to do and what type of work is most profitable? Because sometimes what I've found is when you get into those 3-week long bathroom remodel jobs or whatever it is, there's more opportunity for things to go south and things to go wrong and you not to make as much money, or you'd be like, oh, I forgot about this part, or I forgot about this or that. And so it takes you a little bit longer. And it's just way easier to price and I think be profitable on the smaller jobs. So that's kind of my thought. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah. So, Triumph Man commented back. He's not currently in business, been thinking about it, but I'm concerned about not getting business since I'd be limiting my service. Thanks so much for sharing that. It's all good. Not currently in business. It's amazing to be thinking about it. Our encouragement for you is me and Alan are both big on action. And so, if your heart's really called to doing this, there's some really risk-free, lower investments you can make to get the business going. So if it's on your heart to really do, there is a need, even for the small stuff. And so, I would encourage you to go ahead and get your business name figured out. Get a little simple LLC, even a sole proprietorship, something to kind of like legally base yourself. Get a little Google profile in place so you can get some reviews. And depending on the services too, marketing, there's so many options. We've talked about print marketing so far on here. Of course, there's websites, but getting a Google profile for free, getting reviews on there is really, really important. Then from there, you have the flexibility depending on, like you mentioned, being older and don't want to do heavy labor tasks. So maybe if you're just looking for a part-time kind of nice side income, what does your marketing look like? Get a nice little flyer that does outline what services you do. Do some networking with other local business owners that might need a referral for those tasks. For example, people that specialize in drywall, really great connections to have in your community is plumbing companies. They shred up a drywall and then they'll just leave and they refer people that actually do the patch. A lot of plumbing companies, they don't do the drywall patch. They have referrals, they have subcontractors. So that's just an example of thinking strategically by leveraging relationships in your community through cold outreach, relationship building, general networking, reaching out to property managers, real estate offices. Property management companies, for example, have a lot of turnover tasks that are usually lighter in scope. Those kind of just regular maintenance for drywall patching, paint touch-ups, fixing doorknobs, kind of reframing the door a little, off kilter, WD-40 on squeaky windows. I mean, really basic stuff that they just need someone to come in and take care of. So I would encourage you to, one, just get some base started. That'll give you inspiration. And there is a need for even the small stuff that's not heavy labor. I mean, Alan, his business does that, mostly does those kind of things and has, an amazing company that's very busy. And so I would encourage you to get things started and, create your focus list and just be honest with what you do and what you don't do. And I think you'll be surprised when you put yourself out there that there is a market for what you're trying to offer there, Triumph Man.
Yep. 100%. And I posted in the comment section there, I posted, I posted a link to a good webinar that Jason and I did a few years back about kind of the simple steps to start up your handyman business. And I'd recommend you check that out. It's very informative, walks you through kind of creating Google business profile and, getting your pricing set up and all of that. So, I think you'd be good to check that out. And I think we also talk about that inspection. But thanks so much for your comment, man. And if anyone else out there, I know we got quite a few people watching. I want to encourage you guys to drop us a comment in the comment section below because these live videos work better with people communicating with us. So drop some comments. Let us know who you're at or who you are, where you're located, and how long you've been in business and any questions you have. Jason and I are open books. Like, I don't know if you guys, like sometimes people say that, but like, seriously, ask us anything. And you'll just see what crazy rabbit trail you can take me and Jason down on. So go ahead and ask us some questions if you got any. We would absolutely love to hear from you.
Yeah, it's like this is what Alan and me sometimes when I join his group, it's like a personal coaching session. So whatever questions you guys have, like we'll give you our take and guidance. I'm sure once we get this thing hooked up to the Facebook group, Alan, that, it'll get a lot busier and we'll have to kind of move a lot quicker. But truly, if you're watching this, even if you're not started, so shout out to Triumph Man. He asked a question, even though he's just thinking about it. That's totally fine. Some of our favorite, one of my personal favorite things that we hear from people, whether they're a client or someone in the Facebook group, is they watch Alan's videos on YouTube. They listen to our podcast, the Handyman Success Podcast. If you haven't tuned into that, definitely check that out. And they're just like, hey, I was just thinking about doing this handyman thing. And I didn't even know I could do it until I saw you guys. And 3 years later, I now have a full-time business for myself. I left my job. And so even just the courage to have the thought and to dream about that, to ask a question in a chat when, it's maybe a little like, oh, I don't know if I'm worthy or, if my question's important enough. It absolutely is important enough for us. We care about you. So, it starts with the thought. So even if you're not in business, have a question like Triumph Man, please feel free to chime in. We'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, Alan, what do you want to talk about, man? I know you had some questions dialed up. Let's, we got another 15, 25 minutes here.
Yeah, what you said made me think of a guy that we had on our podcast, Jason, a while back. And he used to be a night security guard. And in the nights, he would be watching my vlogs, when he'd be security, right? And now, 2 years after starting his business, now he was on the Handyman Success Podcast. Like, it's so cool. And just the opportunity that's in this handyman industry. So if you guys are out there, if you're watching us, at whatever time it is, doing whatever, drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We are here to help, quite honestly. Yeah, so I would love to hear, Jason. I got one question here is what are some, I know we've been kind of talking about like print marketing and things like that. What are some low cost marketing strategies that are highly effective for handyman who are just starting out? So like what would, like if someone's just starting out, oftentimes, like we said, people think about, oh, I got to market, and that means spend money on Google. It's like, most of the time you don't. So what are some like things that you'd recommend for people starting out that are low cost but highly effective?
Yeah, it's such a common question that I actually have like a canned like Facebook comment reply that I saved just to help people out, and it's a list of 9 things. So I'm just going to jam through these really quick. So these are generally low cost or free good startup marketing. And this is going to tie in. I got a question from 1337 Exile. I love the elite speak there, man. As a former and actually current total nerd, nice.
I have no clue what that means, so I must not be a nerd.
Actually, it's ingrained into we have one of those front doors that have a little code on it.
Uh-huh.
And if you know where I live, the code is 1337. Well, there's a couple other numbers, but that's the start. That's the kickoff, and I had to. So anyway, we'll actually let's jump into that question real quick before we kind of hit the general marketing tips. Hi guys, I'm wanting to get started as a handyman on the side in ATX. It's Atlanta, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's Atlanta.
I don't know.
ATX. I'm going to give it a quick Google. Anyway, I just want to verify ATX location. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Atlanta. Anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down in that. So it's a great market. Lots of people. I may use that number too often as well. That's funny, man.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, that was a huge played a ton of Halo. So when I was a kid. So anyway, Austin, Texas. Okay, I thought I may be wrong in there in the Atlanta. So great market, man. It's growing, it's booming. There's all kinds of companies that are migrating there, starting up. It is a fantastic growth market. Let's see. On the side in Atlanta or in Austin, I see homeowners post on Nextdoor seeking TV mounting or drywall repair. They get 8 to 15 replies from handymen. How would you compete? We actually talked about this on a live call 2 weeks or 4 weeks ago, because we do this every 2 weeks. And I'm going to share with you, I still have this saved. Lee, as a side note, our amazing producer in the background, she helps with a lot of marketing stuff. We got to get a little article that outlines this Nextdoor guidance. So how you compete is by standing out as professional. Like, you are never going to compete with the guys that are literally replying with like DM'd you or DM me or 35 an hour, whatever. Like, you're never going to compete with those, and that's okay because they're not your competition. So even though it's a side hustle, you can be a very professional side hustle. So there's some prep work to be done here. So, get a free Google. You got to form your business. It's relatively inexpensive. I think in Texas, it's not much cost to have like an LLC or something like that. But it's a worthwhile investment to get an official business set up, a little proof of insurance, etc. Get a Google profile so you can start building reviews. Because CDNC marketing, Google profile is absolutely essential for anyone wanting to get themselves out there to attract your ideal clients. And by ideal clients, I mean people that are posting in Nextdoor that are looking for a handyman, but they literally do not want to pay somebody $35 to $50 an hour. They don't want to, because they want to pay somebody a respectable trade rate for someone they can trust in their house because they've got kids or they take care of their parents. It's a sacred place, the home. So I hope that makes sense as far as the foundational homework that is going to attract the right people, because in all likelihood, 75% of these Nextdoor post people, they're probably not your ideal client. Now, is there an avenue where you can kind of avoid all that and just try to get experience? Absolutely. I'm just kind of planting the seed for a vision here. But the quick reply is you're not going to be competing with most of these people. What you're going to be doing is setting yourself apart as another option, another like top level kind of choice to repair their drywall. And this is assuming that you're kind of confident in your trade and the work. If you're not, that's fine. Just be on the cheaper side, but use it as business tuition to ultimately build up to be, at least 75, 90 bucks an hour. You could very easily get that in the Austin, Texas market. Easily get over 100 an hour labor, as long as you have kind of that professional, approach, but one step at a time. So Joshua Morgan shared this in the Handyman Journey Mastermind group. I've just got a photo. I'm not sure how I can kind of put this on the screen. Actually, yeah, let me share this real quick. I'll just throw it up right on the screen because it was such an amazing share. Here we go. Next door post. It was such an amazing. Can you guys see this okay? Oh yeah, we're coming in hot. So shout out down and talk about next door. I love this post. Yeah. So what you're going to see here, 1337 Exile, my dude, is an amazing just answer to your question. Because he addresses like, how do I compete? So I'm going to read through this comment that he literally saves. Actually, I'll read it through here, but he has this saved and he comments the same thing on all these next door posts. Are 10 to 20% of the people actually going to be calling him and reaching out to him? Yeah, only 10 to 20%, because the other 80 to 90, they instantly see that and like, that guy is expensive. Or he's professional. Like, I just kind of want to pay someone 20, 30 bucks an hour. Like, that's not your client. They're going to be terrible to you. So hi there. I'm the owner of Jola Handyman based in Lebanon. We'd be happy to help with any project. We call ourselves your frustration-free handyman because we focus on what matters most: showing up on time, clear communication, respecting your home, clean, smoke-free, professional, and friendly service. Our goal is simple: take the stress out of your home projects. We back every job with a 12-month warranty. He goes on to mention his 5-star reviews, his website, his phone. You can upload photos. He links his Jola Handyman next door profiles there. So that is like the 10 out of 10 that you can work to, man. But just know there's many steps that you can kind of start taking to ultimately be where Josh Morgan is. And I would start with the Google profile, getting your business set up and paying that business tuition of charging lower prices, but recognizing that not all those next door posts are going to be your clients. Have some kind of billboard you could throw up like Josh Morgan here that systematizes all these comments and sets you apart. You could absolutely do something like this and still just charge maybe 50 to 75 an hour. It's a pretty common starter rate that it's good to kind of grow from that within 6 months. But that's kind of that's my piece. Again, shout out to Josh Morgan. What an amazing share this was in the Facebook group.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And I love it, at 1337 Exile, you said, I haven't even seen a reply locally that is even half as thorough as that one. Opportunity. So totally, like, that's exactly what it's about is, I wrote in here, when you're racing a Ford Focus, be a Ferrari. There's no competition. And that's what you want to do is you want to think of yourself as a Ferrari of the handyman industry out there. And how can you present yourself, not that a Ford Focus is a bad car, I like Ford Focuses, but that's what you want to present yourself as. So whatever you can do, you want to think of I think one cheat code in life is look at what 98% of the people are doing and do the exact opposite. 80% of the population is driving up to a drive-through, looking to buy a hamburger, right? Where 2% of the population is looking at, how can we create that drive-through and sell those people that hamburger? That's what you want to be. So in the handyman population, if you see people, driving around with, holes in their truck and just no decals, and they're coming out with holes in their shirts, they're smoking a cigarette, they're cussing around the people's houses, be different. Just be different. Set yourself apart. And I love the post on Nextdoor of really setting yourself apart and establishing yourself as the Ferrari in the handyman industry, because that person that asked the original question may not hire you. But there's other people trolling or scrolling that post because they're also looking for a handyman. And believe it or not, there's people out there that are just quality handyman to show up, and they don't care what that handyman charges. They've been burnt 5-6 times by other cheap handymen, and they're just praying for someone to come in and just take their money, just take care of them. And so we can be that person, right? That's how we've kind of built our business. And so I think that's such a good thing that they shared on the Facebook post. And I would really, really, encourage you to follow suit of that 1337XL.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
And
stuff.
I love the mindset there is like opportunity. Absolutely. And at the top of that post, the actual content of the Facebook post, it said he's gotten 10 quality leads in the past 2 to 3 days alone, just from those kinds of posts. And so I know that Austin does have pretty active next door communities, Facebook groups. You could apply the same strategy into, but also because you're just getting started, you're wanting to get started, give yourself some grace, understand that, there's some baby steps you got to take here. Do get your business formed, do recognize that, you're not going to be as confident in these drywall repairs or TV mountings as you would be 6 to 12 months down the road. So give yourself some grace. The lowest price you're going to charge are going to be, when you first start, but that does not prevent you from being professional, being honest, being helpful. So that's my encouragement for anyone that's just thinking about starting is, you don't have to come correct right out of the gate with everything dialed, like just one step at a time. The opportunity's there and you will see yourself naturally grow. If you saw earlier in the call, if you've been with us for a bit, I just pulled up Alan's first work truck with his little dinky magnet on the side. It didn't look good. It didn't look good, but he started and he got out there and look at what he's built from it. So that's my encouragement for you.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I love 1337XL that you said here. I still don't understand that 1337XL, but I think that's for a different story here. He says helpful to hear that the target conversion rate for next door is more realistically around 10 to 20% at a fair rate of pay instead of hoping to win them all. I think that's a really good mindset shift because I hear from so many people, oh, I tried the handyman thing out for 3 months and people said I was charging too much, et cetera, so I gave up. It's like, you're going to get people that are balking at your price everywhere. And if you don't get people that are balking at your price, you're probably the cheapest in town, and that's not good. I talked to, a guy a few days ago that he's booked out for the whole month and, he's only charging, $50 an hour. And it's like, well, that's why you do really good work. He's built a business that's based on like being their friend and helping them out and treating them like they're their grandmother. He does fantastic work. So no reason why he's booked out forever, right? Because he does fantastic work, but he's super cheap. And so we talked about, hey man, you really need to raise your rates because at the end of the day, you're not making a whole lot of money. So you're going to get people that balk at your price. You're going to get people that say no to your estimate. You're going to get people on Nextdoor that hire the guy that says, oh yeah, I can come do it today for $50. You're going to get those people. Don't let that discourage you. Let that be proof that you are on the right track because you want to go after those people that we talked about before that are sitting there just praying for someone to show up that will take care of them. Praying for someone that will show up when they say they're going to show up, answer the phone when you call them, and charge them what you say you're going to charge them. They're just waiting for that. They're praying for that. So you want to attract and go after those people and forget about all those low ballers and tire kickers and people that, are looking for someone to pay $20 an hour. That's not your ideal client.
Yeah. And to add to that, to expand like 10 to 20%, like, that's probably the people that are making those posts, maybe up to a fifth of them. You might be they might be a good client. Now, the kind of trickle effect to that is, or before I go into that is, there was a great post or a good comment, an interesting comment that I saw in the Facebook group this last week that basically mentioned like, hey, if your conversion rate's 80%, then you are 2 to 3x underpriced. If your conversion rate is 50 to 60%, then you could probably increase 1.25 to 1.5. If you're hitting 30 to 40%, then you're right. You're the sweet spot. Now, I think that is up for debate as far as what the sweet spot conversion rate is going to be different by the business. But I think in general, most companies have a healthy conversion rate between maybe 35 and 70% on the higher end. When you're looking at just new clients, repeat clients, kind of a different conversion rate. But so anyway, so I would say that somewhere around 50 to 75% is a good rate to go for people that engage with you, that you're converting into a job. And I'd say on the higher end, when you're just getting started, because there's that business tuition of you're going to be at a lower price because you need to build up reputation, you need to build up reviews, and people aren't going to pay you 150 an hour when you don't have any reputation, no Google profile. Mm-hmm. And so, one last point here before I know David Steckler had a great question on labor warranty, but my last point I want to make here is when you make a comment like we showcased there from Josh Morgan, is that people that are just lurking, the lurkers, there's more lurkers than posters. They will see that and be like, oh, wow, that's a professional handyman. I don't have a TV mount like this person needed, but I'd love to get this room painted. So you're going to be exposing, it's like a free little billboard post. Now, the extra layer here that you can do is, I'm unsure on the specifics of Nextdoor, but if you can upload a photo, like a digital business card or like a nice headshot of yourself, definitely do that. On Facebook groups, it's just like Facebook's version of Nextdoor, these local community groups, like what's happening in Austin, Texas, or, there's going to be dozens of them because it's such a big market. But on these posts, when people are looking for a handyman, throw your name in the hat with a professional post like we just put up there, but include a digital business card or a nice headshot, a professional photo of yourself, and people are going to see that comment. And if it's got a photo, the algorithm loves photos. And so it's going to prioritize your comment as maybe the highlighted comment. So if someone's scrolling their feed, they see the post, and the highlighted comment at the top is going to be a nice headshot, 1337 Exile, I can help you out, probably put a different name on there. But, you're going to get this kind of brand awareness and exposure, and people that are interested in potentially contacting you just based off kind of working the algorithm with a nice photo and a professional post. So that's the last point I'd make. Specifically of Facebook, include a nice professional photo. It's going to stand out and maybe hack the algorithm a bit.
I love it. And so David Steckler, my man, he's here. Thanks for being here, brother. What kind of labor warranty do you recommend? So this varies, from person to person. It's really based on what you want to do. Us personally, so there's like one huge, like legit side that you could take that I've heard is like, oh, we have a taillight warranty. The moment you see our taillights leaving your house, the warranty's up. We don't do that. And I don't recommend people do that either. We don't really have any written labor warranty, but we tell people, like, we stand behind our work. Like, we're here, we got a shop in the middle of town. If something goes wrong with what we did, even if it's 5 years from now, give us a call and we're going to come out, take a look at it, and see what we can do to make it right. So that's just the kind of, like, we probably should have something written, like contract wise, but we don't. But we've never had an issue with that. But we've had people call us 2 years, 3 years down the road, say, hey, you installed this for us. We may not go out there and repair it for free, but we'll work with them, right? Because, like, hey, this has been installed outside for 3 years, and this is just wear and tear. But it really depends on kind of what you want to offer. I know that some people do, a 1 year warranty. Some people do a 2 year warranty. Some people do a 3-month warranty. It depends on what you're doing, what type of business you have, and then also the type of job, because you got to think, like, if you put something outside, like what does weather look like what kind of damage is that going to do to what you put in? And, do you really want to warranty that for a year if there's a tornado that happens? I don't know, whatever. But you got to think about that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts, Jason?
Yeah, so the common ones I see is certainly 1 to 2 years of labor warranty. And I would say if you're putting something like out there, make sure you kind of almost set yourself up for, I think it's good to have something like that, but make sure you have something on the back end that more clarifies that, whether it's in the invoice. We don't have any clients that, like, for example, put up a full detailed warranty on, like, the website. I'm sure they maybe send something to the client in the invoice, the estimate, with more details. But what you want to protect yourself against is, like, say you mount a TV and, some kid uses it as a pull-up bar, and it rips the whole thing out of the wall. Or I know a common one is, someone swiveling the TV mount and it's not as flexible as they think it is. And they just, like, the thing just comes off. So it needs to be in a way that is gives confidence and trust to your client that, hey, wow, this company must be good. They're standing by their work, but also people are people. And sometimes people do dumb things that is not your fault. So you don't want to be doing free warranty work for things that, you just want to have that defined of what qualifies.
Definitely. I think that's a very important thing. And then, David, if you have any follow-up questions on this, we'd love for you to drop in the comments. And then David, you also posted a comment about, I had a customer that said, I don't charge enough. And I think that goes to kind of our previous conversation of, the type of people that you want to attract. And I think if you're hearing from people that you're not charging enough, you are probably not charging enough and you should probably up your rate. There is a fine line there, but I think at the end of the day, you need to do your pricing numbers. And I think when we're talking about this pricing and charging and things like that, you need to know your numbers. That's the biggest thing. You are the business owner. Like, you're not an employee anymore. You're the business owner. You have to sit down, figure out exactly what your prices are, what your expenses are, how much you need to make per hour, how much labor costs you have, things like that. And then figure out a good hourly rate that's actually going to make you some profit at the end of the day. And, we do have a calculator over at handymanjourney.com you can use to type in your expenses and things like that. If you want to go deeper into that, you can check out the Handyman Pricing Handbook on Amazon. That really goes in depth on how to figure out what your hourly rate needs to be. And by that, I don't mean charge by the hour. I don't recommend charging by the hour. I recommend charging by the job. But there needs to be some sort of a back-end hourly rate so that kind of like how to estimate jobs and what to charge for things.
Yeah. And there's some things you can just get flat rate pricing on. So, even though, like, we talked about this on our podcast all the time, and it's like, well, initially when I was replacing ceiling fans, it took me 2 hours, but now it takes me 1 hour. If you're then updating your pricing from your 2 hour rate to your 1 hour rate, just because you got better, more efficient, better tools, in and out, like, you're kind of taking a hit on your own pay because you're good. You've gotten better. So there's certainly some things that I think that setting a flat rate pricing, like per ceiling fans, a really good one, that you're not shooting yourself in the foot just because you're really quick and effective at doing it. So anyway, that's just my thoughts there. And also, someone that says that you don't charge enough, I definitely would lean on what Alan said. You should be the dictator of, do I charge enough or do I not? Because that comment is going to drastically depend on that person's perspective, their disposable income. Do they value your personality, your customer experience? Do they value the quality of the work? Do they value all of that? Is it just one aspect? It's going to be very different by customer. If you talk to Jeff Bezos, he'd probably say that same thing. But just to give you an extreme example of, like, everyone has their own unique perspectives in your marketplace, and, people's incomes and your ideal clientele, you might have some really good clients, and you still are going to have clients on the margin that is like on the lower end, that they're still good clients, but they're kind of like maybe $10 an hour from your labor rate away from not being your client. And that's just economics. So you should be the one that, like, rather than a customer saying you don't charge enough, that should be an internal thing of, like, do I charge enough? I look at my numbers. Yes, absolutely. Look at my numbers, hash out to achieve the profitability that I'm looking to have while making my W-2, payroll, et cetera. So anyway, great thoughts there on charging enough.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, I love it when people call me and they scold me. Like, I've been scolded a few times by people like, do you
got a
know what you're
scoldable
doing,
young face?
Right? Do you know what you're doing, young man? You are ripping people off. I cannot believe you're charging so much. And they always go into, I don't know what your expenses are. I don't know what you think your labor rate is, but you are, like, drastically overcharging people. And it's like exactly that. Like, you don't know my numbers, like, I've run my numbers. And so when you run your numbers, you actually, you have some scientific evidence to back that up. You don't need to bring that up to the client and be like, oh, well, yeah, I went through my numbers and this is what I came up with. But you feel a lot better and you're more confident in your pricing, because it's like, no, I have all these numbers. I have this calculator that has told me that this is exactly what I need to charge. And I know how much profit I'm making. I know I'm able to pay my guys. I know that I'm able to bring food home tonight for dinner or whatever it is. But it's so funny when people scold you. And that's a matter of like when you're dealing with the wrong client. Like you have attracted the wrong client, the client that expects something way cheaper, but you're way more expensive than what they're looking for. And they tend to blame you, right? They tend to bring up excuses of like, hey, you're ripping people off. You really need to think about what you're doing. I can't believe that, like people, you call yourself honestly, like you're the most dishonest person I've ever met, and it's like, wow. So
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But I think knowing your numbers gives you kind of the authority to like go out there and charge what you need to charge.
Mm. Yeah, I love that perspective, man. And there's a bigger mindset thing in there, in that to not to homeowners or residential or most people's fault, but they don't understand business, because like, how could you until you're doing business, right? I was naive to, I'd get an hourly rate and I'd be like, what the heck? That guy's making money hand over fist. I got to change careers, because I didn't understand. And so, you have to give people grace where, they're not experiencing that. And, if someone's scolding you, like Alan said, like, yeah, not a good client, but there's a mindset shift there that has to happen. But overall, if you are like 100% agree with that, when you're confident in your numbers, like you get your P&L, like your profit and loss statement, anyone in here that's in business full time, you need to be looking at your profit and loss statement. Then, those comments are just water under the bridge, because you already know your numbers. And if you know them, you can have confidence in them, or you can not have confidence in them and make changes based on the numbers, not based on comments. So really good stuff there, Alan. I love especially the mindset thing there of like, there's this mental side of kind of the pricing, estimating side of this business.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I think that, 90% of our problems are all mindset. Most of the time we know what we need to do. We know what the next step is that we need to do. But whatever it is, the roadblock in our mind is allowing us to like, I can't charge that because customers are going to stop calling me, and, or I can't do that because then people will think this about me, or like, it's all mindset and just really getting over what other people think about you, and just realizing that you offer really good service and people want that service. And so it's like, all we need to do then, if you want the service and I offer the service, all we need to do is connect that, and if we like try and help everyone, we're really helping no one. So,
Yep. Absolutely. We're going to be kind of winding down here, guys. I just want to shout out David, Triumph Man, 1337 Exile. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and your questions, and anyone else out there that was fly on the wall. Is all good. We do this every couple weeks. Actually, we're kind of off on the next one, but we'll be back in October. So we're going to be doing some live call-in stuff. So we got some fun stuff kind of planned for these live calls.
Yep. And our podcast, if you guys have not watched the podcast, that Handyman Success podcast, that launches every month. So we launch one usually on the 1st and the 15th. So check that out. You can watch it here on this YouTube channel, or you can watch it or listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you are watching on YouTube, or if you are watching somewhere else, go ahead and like and subscribe this video on YouTube, and subscribe to our channel. We post really good content every Monday. Jason posts a marketing video. Every Wednesday, I post a business video. So it's just fantastic content. So make sure, if you are not subscribed to this channel, you need to subscribe so that you don't miss a beat. But with that, we thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to, you can reach out to Jason or I. You can set up a conversation with us at handymansuccess.net. You can go get access to both of our content there. And we would absolutely love to chat with you. Believe it or not, guys, like, we're not getting paid right now. We are just hanging out, right? This is what we love to do. Jason used to work at a bank. I used to work as an auto mechanic, and we fell in love with the handyman industry, so we are here literally to serve you guys. We've grown a lot within the last 9 years of doing this handyman thing. And we've talked to a lot of different handymen, and we feel like God has blessed us with that knowledge, and we want to help give that back to the community. So don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Reach out to us. Leave a comment here. Reach out to us on handymansuccess.net, because we would absolutely love to chat with you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We want to thank everyone involved in this. A huge shout out to our producer, Lee, keeping everything running behind the scenes. She's fantastic. So thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. We will see you guys on the next video, and have a great day, everyone.
Later.